Yesterday, I saw an article on Depka.com and then Israel National, so all over the place. Um, I wanted to wait until there's clarification, but it appears that where is this? Well, I'll just read the story, and it's been out for more than a day. It's been out for 2 days, maybe 3 days, and there has been no denial coming from Washington, D.C. I find this very troubling, and I'll get into the troubling part in a minute. The article on IsraelNationalNews.com, will Trump's plan include giving up parts of Jerusalem? New report says Trump's peace plan, first of all, anyone who thinks they can bring peace to the Middle East is a fool. The only way peace can be brought to the Middle East is if Israel's enemies are completely annihilated. And the only one who's going to be able to do that is the word of our Father in heaven. New report says Trump's peace plan will include Israel gifting 4 Jerusalem neighborhoods to Palestinian Authority. The Hebrew language Mariv newspaper on Friday morning reported that U.S. President Donald Trump's new peace plan would include giving the Palestinian Authority 4 of Jerusalem Arab neighborhoods. According to Mariv, the plan was revealed to Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman during his visit to Washington last week and includes significant compromises on Israel's part. Yes, we heard about this a couple of months ago, where Donald Trump says it took Jerusalem off the table, but Israel is going to have to give up a lot, is what he said. The 4 neighborhoods are Shuafat, Jabal, Mukaber, Isawaya, and Abu Dis. These neighborhoods would form the capital of a future Palestinian state. Under the plan, and here's where the real rub is. This is the dangerous part. The other part's dangerous too, but this one is extremely dangerous for the United States of America. Under the plan, Jerusalem's old city would be recognized as international territory. It will never be international territory again. That is not my opinion, that's the truth. I will continue to read. The report said that the plan includes a promise of unconditional support from the White House for any of Israel's efforts against the Iranian nuclear threat. This support includes diplomatic support in international forums if Israel decides to act directly, as well as significant military aid and advanced weapons in the event of war. In April, a senior White House official said Trump's peace plan was nearly ready. However, already in March, a senior Palestinian Authority official promised to thwart the peace plan, and a Fatah official promised that the plan would not be implemented. Okay. So, one could theoretically, and would probably be correct, to say that the Arabs wouldn't accept the plan anyway, so the point is moot. I partly agree with that. No, they won't accept it, but the point is not moot. There's a couple of problems with this. And I'm going to stay on subject here, but I have to explain something troubling about some of Donald Trump's statements. At one point in the gun control issue in the United States, he says he's the greatest supporter of the NRA and the greatest supporter of the Second Amendment there is. That's what he says. And then he did this after the shoot 'em up down there in Florida, where the deputies refused to do their jobs and allowed a bunch of 17 teenagers, and 5 of them were Jews, to be killed. Okay? 5 of them were Jews. That is correct. A lot of people don't know this. But Donald Trump said some disturbing things concerning the NRA and swearing to uphold the Constitution of the United States brings a curse upon one's head if they swerve from the truth. Now, in this video, I will just play the audio for you. He's saying you can't buy a handgun at 18, 19, or 20. You have to wait till you're 21. Why is it that you can buy one of these AR-15s when you're 18? This is what he is saying. No, there is nowhere in the Second Amendment of the Constitution that prescribes an age limit. Therefore, any infringement on the Second Amendment as it is written is a violation thereof. And as Penn Jillette pointed out, when he talked about the need for a well-regulated militia, the right of the people to bear arms, the reason why that cannot be infringed is to counter a well-regulated militia, should that well-regulated militia be controlled by a dictator. A lot of people have not read the Second Amendment correctly because of the fact that there needs to be a well-regulated militia. Militia means military. The right of the people to bear arms shall not be infringed. Why? Because if you take away the right to bear arms, the people have no way to defend themselves from that well-regulated militia, you see. Now, so I'm going to play this audio. It's only about 46 seconds.
You can't buy a handgun at 18, 19, or 20. You have to wait till 21, but you can buy the gun, the weapon used in this horrible shooting at 18. You are going to decide. The people in this room pretty much are going to decide. But I would give very serious thought to it. I can say that the NRA is opposed to it. And I'm a fan of the NRA. I mean, there's no bigger fan. I'm a big fan of the NRA. They want to do it. These are great people. These are great patriots. They love our country. But that doesn't mean we have to agree on everything. It doesn't make sense that I have to wait till I'm 21 to get a handgun, but I can get this weapon at 18. I don't know. So I was just curious as to what you did in your bill.
We didn't address it, Mr. President. Look, I think
you know why? Because you're afraid of the NRA.
And there you have it. And there you have it, folks. Wobbling, wavering, double-minded. And I will tell you, going back to this article on IsraelNationalNews.com, anyone who wants to make the old city of Jerusalem an international city, and then says in return, if you will, basically, this is what he is saying, if you, Israel, will give up Jerusalem, if you will give up the old city, then we will back you up if you have to deal with Iran. That's not what a friend does. Why don't if United States of America was in deep trouble, and the United States of America had this greater, bigger friend, and that bigger friend told the United States, if you are willing to give up Washington, D.C. to your enemy, we will back you up in case you have to fight a larger enemy. You cannot trust anyone. You cannot trust anyone who wants to make the old city of Jerusalem an international city. It doesn't belong to anyone except for the Jews, period. And to try to make it an international city, what you're trying to do is you're trying to, once again, block the door to the kingdom, trying once again to make sure that Israel's Messiah does not come, because guess where he is going to sit? In the old city. The city of David. This is a dirty, filthy trick. I had a feeling it was coming. And I'm saying it better not be true. Because if it is, there's trouble coming upon the United States of America. And notice it said Friday when it happened, when the plan was leaked out to the press. And what happened on Friday, the same day in the United States? A great big earthquake in Hawaii, and Kilauea explodes. Let's go to Zechariah 12. Now, Zechariah 12 in verse 3, King James Version and some others take a lot of liberty with this particular verse. It says, let's start at verse 1. The burden of the word of Jehovah for Israel's sake. In other words, calamity no longer on Israel, but on Israel's behalf. Saith Jehovah, who stretched forth the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth and formed the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling, reeling. The word is ra'al, trembling, okay? And it means reeling, falling backwards is what it means. Reeling means falling backwards. And intoxication. All right? Unto, it says, unto all the people round about. That's what it says in King James. But what it says in Hebrew, it says am, which means folk, 5971, and circuit roundabout. So this is basically unto those who are around Jerusalem. Okay. when they shall be, it says Matsor or Matsori, 4692 in Hebrew, siege, entrenchment. And what we have right now is it says besiege, defense, fortified, fortress, rampart, siege, siege works. Now, what we have already around Israel. Israel is in a very dark hour right now. You have Russia, Turkey, Iran, Hezbollah, and others surrounding Israel right now. And you have the United States saying, give up these 4 sections of Jerusalem and the old city, and we will help you. Okay, let's go back. Both against Yehuda and against Jerusalem. Now, telling Israel to give up parts of Jerusalem. That would mean, if this thing is true, if this statement is true, if the United States is telling Israel that they have to give up parts of Jerusalem, and their troops are over there too. I know they're east of the Euphrates River, but nevertheless, they're still round about. Demanding to give up parts of Jerusalem, that means they're in the siege against Jerusalem too. Now, I have said before in this particular chapter, that doesn't mean that all the nations are going to be against Jerusalem. It says all the nations that are round about. And in that day I will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone. And it says in Zechariah, or it says in King James, for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces. The way it should read is, for the folk, anyone who burdens themselves with it will be cut in pieces. Then King James says again, though all the people of the earth shall be gathered together against it. What it says is, Goy of the land are going to be gathered against it. It doesn't say all the Goy, it says Goy. In that day, says Jehovah, I will smite every horse with astonishment and his rider with madness, and I will open my eyes upon the house of Yehuda, and will smite every horse of the people of the folk, of those who are surrounding the city, with blindness, etc. Now, we're going to find out. We're going to find out probably within a week. A week to 10 days. We're going to find out if this is true. The unfortunate part is that the folks in Washington have not denied it. That's very troubling. My point here is the United States would not have to be against Jerusalem in order for Zechariah 12 to be fulfilled. It's not necessary. It's just not necessary. But if you're going to try to force Israel to give up the old city and 4 portions of the rest of Jerusalem for peace and safety, that's not going to work. No. That is a non-starter, And that's going to get the United States of America in a world of trouble. Mark my words.